No, you know what?
That in life.
Tire, and when I do, I don't want to own anything except maybe a car, right? You got to have a car.
Of course, yeah.
But I want to be I want to be reckless to the point where I don't really care about anything.
Well, no, because you don't want to get sued and then lose your assets in some bullshit civil case to some.
No, I just want to be able to mess things up.
Yeah.
I want to just for a little while because you care. You know, when you own a house, you care, right? Like you have. I mean, every day you wake up and you're just like, oh, damn it, this happened or that could happen.
Yeah.
Or, you know, every once in a while you get weird about it, right? Like something happens to your buddy and they lose power and it's like, oh man, I lost like $5,000 worth of stuff in my freezer, and you're just like, and every day you got a little bit of stress. If I'm renting, I have zero stress.
Yeah. I mean, the appliances aren't yours. I mean, worst case scenario, you buy your own microwave for $60 at Target, right? I mean, like a 700-watt microwave. Yeah. So other than that, what do you really?
That would keep me from throwing it out the window. You're like, and I want to be reckless. Hopefully I have enough money. I want to be able to just take my microwave, right?
Yeah.
Swing open the window and just go, I don't want this anymore. And it works perfectly fine. Just throw it out the window. Just see what happens.
And then you have your 80-inch big screen TV.
Okay, let's not joke around. Okay. Joking around about a $60 microwave is funny. Exactly. Joking around about a big screen TV is not funny at all. That's not funny.
Well, you want like $4.99 at Walmart now. So I mean, even though
is that
the
right?
most, I think the prices come down so much on these. I haven't checked, but I mean, I know you can get something huge. Like let's say you get a 60-inch at Walmart. I mean, I know at Costco they're still selling like 5K TV, whatever the top of the line is. I think the most
11.
expensive.
I want an 11K TV.
The most expensive TV I think I've seen is like about $2,500, and this is like a 100-inch TV that unless you're a professional sports watcher, there's really no reason to have a monstrosity like that in your house.
What's a professional sports watcher?
It's code for a hardcore gambler. It's code for the guy who's got DraftKings FanDuel on his phone, and then he's listening to that show that you said. Tell us about that show.
Oh yeah,
the radio show.
So I finally got the radio working in my car. Okay, it has been a long time. I finally got it working. I'm not even going to say how much it is because it actually physically hurts me just to think about it. But I turn it on, and I think I'm listening to a sports radio talk show, which I never really listen to. I don't really care about. It's not. It is a 24-hour radio station that only talks about gambling. They do talk about sports, obviously, but just in the reference
in an ancillary way because of the gambling is the main part.
Gambling. So I think they're talking about this and that, and a guy thrown for this many yards or whatever it was, and I'm just like, oh yeah, okay, that kind of makes sense. Then they go right into the betting stuff, and it's all about betting. I thought maybe it was fantasy football. No, it's just literally 24 hours a day betting.
Well, I mean, you figure it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, so of course, I'm sure the industry's smart enough to have a dedicated talk show just for that. You remember the movie Anchorman with Will Ferrell? Remember when they just did sports highlights and they said this is the dumbest thing ever? Nobody wants to just listen to highlights. And it's like whammy, just the homers. and remember they had like the 2 a.m. time slot. They're like no one's ever going to watch this and stuff. So they did the live police chase and the ESPN highlights just showing homers, and then it was genius at the time.
It was, dude. I'm telling you right now, it was really. I don't know, man. I really have a problem with gambling. I really have a problem with gambling. I feel like it's that thing where, I mean, this doesn't make sense. But at least if you're taking drugs and drinking, at some point you have to stop because you pass out.
Yeah,
right.
And it doesn't cost that. I mean, like a bottle of Jack Daniels. What's a fifth of Jack Daniels cost at the liquor store? Like $22.
And we are definitely downplaying this. Okay, so I understand.
Course,
I understand that. But I just feel like gambling and losing.
Well,
because
financially
everybody's losing.
destructive.
It's just so infinite. Like it can never stop.
Yeah.
Well, it can never stop.
The worst is at least with the modern times, because there's no more like really any bookies anymore. So back in the day, and I just know this. There's
still
I know.
People.
But you basically bet on credit. And then eventually you lose, and then eventually they call you. They say, "Hey, okay, now you owe us like $10,000. We can't take any more bets." But at least with like casino gambling and sports gambling, you have to have the money up front, and you have to go to the ATM machine, which I've never done. But at least if you run out of money, then you're done. So at least you might have lost everything that you have, but at least you're not.
I think you can get credit.
Yeah,
and
you're
stuff.
probably
I think
right.
I think for sure they can get you on credit because then they can, especially if it's online, then they can just come over and kind of like garnish your wage or somehow get that money.
So Marcus Morris Sr., one of the basketball twins, I guess wherever they played, I guess this guy owed $200,000 to a casino just recently. Just like I think he just paid him off, or he was like barred from the casino, but he owed the casino like $200. Yeah. So you're right. If you're somebody, they'll give you a line of credit. They'll be glad to give you a line of credit. course, yeah. So I guess
I
you're
think
right.
a regular person can get a line of credit, man. I think you could just use your credit cards. I mean, I doubt there's any...
cash advance, or honestly, I hate to say it, if someone who's really desperate, I guess they could just get like a micro loan from like anywhere, like a payday loan or do whatever, Yeah, so there's ways. It depends on your financial situation.
You have bottomed out.
Yeah,
you have literally bottomed out at that point.
Well, I mean, I've been to a casino a few times, and most of the people I see are older people who seem to be on fixed incomes. They're older people, like I'm assuming they're retired, so they're taking whatever, whatever their SSI disability or whatever government checks they're getting, because I'm guessing they're on a fixed income, and that's where they're spending their money. And then
that's what you assume. You just assume
everyone
there.
Not everybody, but I'm saying the older people who are well into their 60s and 70s using walkers and canes to move around. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying precludes you from working, but let's assume they're not in the workforce. And if they're not
well-off people just with canes and walkers.
It's possible. I'm not saying but I'm guessing if I had to do a deep dive into it and just say, let's just say you go to a casino on a Friday night and it's jam-packed, which I've never gone. I've gone on a casino on a Tuesday at 3 p.m, and it's still pretty crowded. So my guess would be, if I had to do a study like, okay, if I could just wave a magic wand and everybody disappears who can't afford to be here right now, there'd probably be like 5 people in the whole casino left, right? People who shouldn't be there gambling with money that they don't have, obviously way in over their head. Who, number one, probably aren't good gamblers to begin with, probably have low emotional IQ, and they're short stacked to begin with. So it's just like a recipe for disaster. So they're emotional, they're drunk, and they're broke. Yeah. So it's just like, well, the casinos love them. Yeah, that's why they get those little players cards, right? Yeah, here, give us your players cards.
So will casinos be giving out fentanyl soon? Just enough to keep you, on drugs, but not enough to stop you from gambling.
Yeah.
Oh, I should probably say this. You don't hear Mark. So Mark tonight he's in the golf league that we were in.
Yes.
Yeah. So he got hooked. He got hooked in the golf league, and I told him that we have a special Thursday show, and this is really screwing me up. The fact that it's Thursday, and we didn't record. Like I'm in a weird space. Like it's Thursday. We should have recorded. I can't even. I'm having trouble figuring out days. But right now he is in playoffs. Yeah,
playoffs.
So he is. He was very. It was kind of funny when I said we're going to talk to Dr. Lisa Cromer tonight. Mm-hmm. Right. It's going to be pretty cool. I said, but she's she's got a limited schedule and she can really only be on at certain times. We've got a couple other people, the same thing. Mm-hmm. And I said we got to do it on Thursday. He said Thursday's golf playoffs. I can't. I'm just like
okay.
You literally weren't 3 months ago. You weren't even in the golf league.
Yeah.
Now you can't miss.
Now he's an integral part of the golf league, and obviously his team needs him. And hey, I hope he plays well tonight.
Yeah.
Wherever he might be, whatever hole he might be on.
Whatever hole he's on right now.
Yeah, whatever hole he might be blowing up on right now.
I don't want him to lose. That'd be terrible.
Yeah, because then he'd be extra grumpy when we see him next time.
He would be very
especially if we ask him about like, Mark, how'd you end up doing there? I don't want to talk about it.
I think he would be very grumpy. Oh, I've got some sad news. You probably saw this. The U.S. denied visas for speaking of sports, the Venezuelan Little League team.
I heard about that
for the Little League World
Series.
Yeah,
I thought that was a little bit. I was a little bit taken aback by that because obviously the whole purpose of Little League. Yeah, because obviously most of these teams are foreign teams that come to the United States and we welcome them, and it's so they're obviously there for a specific reason. They're not there to they're visitors.
From what I understand, so I did a little research.
Okay.
No Little League player has ever committed a crime in America during the Little League World Series. I did check that out. Yeah, so I know that's important to all the ice people.
Do they even need like a visa,
really
or can't they just get like a waiver because it's a very specific reason they're here?
It's like a very short visa thing, but they couldn't get it.
I mean, it's not like they're going to defect here, right? I mean, like remember the Cuban boxers?
No 12-year-old Little League player has ever defected either
because of political persecution. Yeah.
And then I also found this out: the Cuban national women's volleyball team. Mm-hmm. Could not play here in a tournament.
Oh, okay.
And that made sense to me, and here's I'll tell you why. All the girls were over 18, and I guess if they were girls under 18, Trump would have let them in, but they were over 18, and it didn't really fit his dynamic. So I guess he there's rules and exceptions for everything. So that's
don't they have that golden visa now? If you pay $5 million, they'll fast track your citizenship. I read about that.
Yeah. So just $5 million.
Well, like anything, money talks, right? Just like
Okay. Well, you know what? I mean, that's funny because if we leave and we try to get back in, I don't have enough money to get back in.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a bad thing.
Well, I think Elon Musk is from South Africa, so I think he's
here illegally. Just so you know, he never actually officially did what he's supposed to do, along with, surprisingly enough, Donald Trump's wife, current wife.
But he has $400 billion.
Yeah.
So
did they say something about him being the first trillionaire?
He might be eventually. Yeah. So
yeah, I thought they said
something. Someone's going to be. Because I figure at this point it's all compound interest, right? So it's all. So if you have, let's just say you have $400 million, and you're earning 5% a day, so you're making millions a day just in interest alone.
I feel like they're probably. I feel like all these people probably are more active with their money than just.
I'm sure he has active money managers who are literally.
Sir, you'd like to put? Let me get straight. $17 billion in a 6-month CD. Okay. You know what? I'll have to check with my manager. I will have to check with my manager to see if that works.
I think we're beyond that point. I think he's already going straight to the manager. He's going to the manager's manager. I don't think he needs to ask permissions.
And you're Mr. Bezos. Bezos. Okay. Wow. All right. And that's your wife right there. All right. You know what? She looks plastic.
Is this Fisher Investments?
I like that. All right. And one last sports thing. You heard that Deion Sanders had his cancer removed.
Yeah. They removed his bladder. He had bladder cancer, yeah.
Part of his bladder.
Part of his bladder.
Part of it. I don't think they removed the whole thing.
Is a bladder? Is it like the liver? Can it grow back? Does it regenerate? Oh. I know the liver can regenerate itself.
You know what? There's going to be a person on who might be able to answer. Probably
not going to Google it right now. So.
You know what? Though, when you say you just imagine a doctor is a doctor and can answer all the doctor questions, right? Yeah. Even though that's not really true.
It's a gland, right? The bladder is like it's an organ. I know that, but it's like.
But your finger doesn't come back.
Yeah, because that's an appendage.
Oh.
But I think the liver can regenerate itself like a salamander's tail. I don't want to find out.
Geography.
I don't want to find out.
Yeah.
So.
Should we start cutting things off? Yeah. We could do a show on that. That'd be awesome.
Cut your head off. Let's see if it grows back.
Okay, so the thing that got me with this Deion Sanders thing, and we wish everybody well because Neon Deion, he's dating a woman allegedly, Karuchi Tran, and she's a younger girl compared to him.
Okay, yeah, obviously,
but whatever.
Yeah,
she did this thing. She's putting pictures on social media, and this is the thing that gets me.
Yeah.
So don't fall for this, right? And it was pictures of her holding his hand and looking concerned and being concerned and all that kind of stuff. And here's what I thought: who's taking those pictures?
Exactly.
Like pose. All right, here's what I want you to do. Look concerned.
Yeah. Obviously, it's not a selfie, right? She doesn't have like a selfie stick. You could tell it's somebody. Yeah.
Well, even if she's taking her own picture, she's taking pictures of her pretending.
Yeah.
To be concerned about something.
But was she deeply concerned?
It's just weird to me that people post those pictures of themselves looking distraught. But someone yourself, whoever takes the picture, whatever. Why are you taking a picture of yourself looking distraught? Just be distraught and be there for that person. Yeah. Why are you sharing this? Like, look how great I am.
Yeah, well, exactly.
I'm such a great person.
Look how empathetic I am. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
it's clickbait. Yeah,
stop. Just weirdly stop doing that.
So ironically, I just saw something today on Reddit where I guess like a former porn actress, never heard of her, obviously.
What was she concerned about?
She was they showed her crying, like I showed up close to her crying, and I guess she wanted to take all her videos down, all her naughty videos, somehow remove them from the internet, as if it never existed. I was thinking, good luck with that.
It's funny. I would imagine that probably happens more often than we think because they get started when they're young.
Yeah.
And then they realize that
there's regrets.
Well, this thing is going to follow them, right?
Yeah.
It's like the people that make videos for their boyfriends or with their boyfriends or girlfriends.
It's called sex tapes.
Whatever. I know it seems like a good idea.
Yeah.
But golly gee, you know what? It's a terrible idea.
Yeah, but we're talking about. But how about celebrities? When the sex tape is leaked, is it really leaked, or is it purposely leaked for publicity? Because like we talked,
like Karachi Tran, yeah,
like we talked about. There's no such thing as bad publicity when you're mentioning a celebrity's name, regardless of the context. Kim Kardashian.
Yeah, I guess it's just kind of weird to me. All right, we need to get to your tip because we have a guest,
right?
And do you feel? Let me ask you this before we get into anything. Do you feel pressure knowing that you're going to help someone or try to help someone, and there's an actual doctor who helps someone listening to this and judging you?
Hey, you know what? I don't have any tattoos, but if I got a tattoo, my only tattoo would be only God will judge me. So there you go.
You don't actually believe in God.
Only something in the sky that hopefully something similar to God will judge me.
Like an airplane?
Exactly.
Like a drone?
Something
so
in the cosmos.
You don't feel any pressure at all?
Well, no, this is what we do. It's like if you felt pressure, we wouldn't be here.
I don't help people.
Okay.
I actually feel like, I mean, what is this, show 181?
I might not help anybody right now.
Here, out of show
Sit or rest,
181,
yeah.
maybe 3 shows I've actively helped someone, but mostly I assume that everybody just does the opposite of whatever I say.
Well, then you're still helping them.
Or just doesn't listen.
Yeah, it's like if I knew a degenerate gambler, wouldn't you just do the opposite of what they did? Like just say they were on a horrific losing streak, so whatever they
Keep
do,
going.
you pick the over, I got the under. Who you got to win? You got this person. Okay, I'm picking this. Yeah, and you'd be like, yeah, I'm surprised no one's ever done that. Like, there's a degenerate gambler, Gamblers Anonymous, and they obviously are there because they've lost God knows what.
So you're saying go to Gamblers Anonymous.
Yeah.
And ask them what they would bet on, and then just do the opposite.
So just pretend.
So you're just there as a troll.
No, I'm not there as a troll. I'm there as a what do you call it? Reconnaissance. It's reconnaissance. I know. Hey,
what?
Bob? I know you don't gamble anymore, but
oh my God!
Like for the Super Bowl, if you had to, I know you're done with that because you're in the 7 stages of recovery. But that's just right. Who would you take? Would you take the Patriots in the points? Really? Okay, and then I would just go to the sports book and say, just give me the opposite of that.
And then you can come back the next week and be like, I'm so glad you didn't bet because you would have lost. By the way, what do you think is going to happen in the doubleheader with the Cubs and the Brewers? Yeah. I just, you know what? I want to know what you think.
Yeah, the Preakness is right around the corner too, by the way.
So you could just fake like you care. Oh,
No, I know. I think there are people that it's sometimes I don't know what the syndrome is, but they actually go to these recovery groups just so they can feel better about themselves. But they're not alcoholics, but they'll go to Alcoholics Anonymous. There was a movie like that. I think it was Fight Club. The girl would go to Alcoholics Anonymous or whatever, rehab thing, but she wasn't didn't have that issue. She just wanted to feel better about herself, sitting in a circle with the people
that's
the
why
issues.
I figure people listen to this show.
They just want to feel better.
They listen to how messed up we are, and it's like, oh my God, thank God I'm not as messed up as Matt, Mark, and Ted.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so we just serve a purpose. So we are serving a purpose. Yeah, so there's a 50-50 chance I might help this person today, but even if I don't,
no, I
might help somebody else.
It's got to be 90-10.
Okay.
Yeah, it's got to be 90-10 the other way. In fact, I wonder if people actively do that. They listen to what you say, and then they just literally do the opposite.
Well, then you know what? It still worked then. I've still served a purpose. That's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We got to get to our sponsor, and I don't have a song.
Because we don't have a mark.
We don't have a mark. I was going to do it, but I was so knee deep into researching for this show, for the nightmares and what we're going to talk about, that I literally got trapped in it. I was so deep into like checking things out that I was in a bad place.
No way. This is good because now that Mark's not here, we get to hear the sound of our own voice. Much more.
I knew you couldn't wait. I knew you couldn't wait to rip on him.
I'm not ripping on him. I'm just saying now that he's not here, there's just more. There's more slices of the pie for us.
One day you won't be on the show.
One day
you're going to miss a show.
Yeah.
And I won't Zoom you. I'll just leave you in your basement like when you were deathly ill. You coughed during that whole show, by the way. And then I'm going to let Mark just go off on you.
The day I miss the show is the day I'm cashing in that lottery ticket, and you won't have to worry about any more shows after that.
Oh.
I'll invite you to a round of golf at Scottsdale, though.
Thank you. All right. Let's see. Ted's Tips is sponsored by the folks at the Common Sense Institute. Now more than ever, it's important to remember that that common sense is our best defense against the daily barrage of social media and news stories that seem to be outlandish and unbelievable. Don't be fooled when someone says things are better and you see they aren't. Don't be fooled when you see someone do something and they say they didn't do it. When someone makes a claim, make sure you ask yourself, did that person do what they are accused of doing, or for the 100th time, did a secret group of people just make it look that way? The Common Sense Institute reminds you, let's make common sense common again. Wow. That seems very apropos. All right, Teddy, are you ready for your tip?
Yes.
Okay. Ted, I need some help. I've been dating my boyfriend for about a year, and I'm going to break up with him. Okay, so you don't have to talk her into it or out of it, Teddy. Nothing really bad. I just know I can do better. Now, there isn't anyone else I'm interested in, so you don't have to assume. Should I be abrupt, tell him it's over, I'm moving on, and walk away? Or should we sit down, talk it out, let him ask questions, and have some solid closure? I'm torn. I don't want him to think we have a chance of reconciliation, but I don't want him to think I never cared about him. Mia, 29, Toronto, Canada. Mia, if you think you can do better, you probably can.
Yeah. Oh, with a name like Mia, I'm sure
unless you can't.
Yeah, so.
No, okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, actually, the ironic thing is, I wish this tip was for the boyfriend and not for Mia. That's the ironic thing. So it's almost like the wrong person of this couple is giving me the tip because I actually want to give the guy the insight.
He doesn't know he's getting broke up.
I know.
With.
Yeah, broke up with. Yeah, exactly.
Is that not the proper grammatical term? Broke up. Okay.
Yeah, he's being.
So why
dismissed.
do you want to tip him?
Well, because so I can give him some insight into the dynamics of what's going on. But okay, since Mia's the one asking the tip, I'm going to talk to Mia as if I'm talking to the boyfriend. So Mia, obviously, to answer your question directly, I would just end it. I wouldn't ghost him, because that ghosting is a sign of kind of like immaturity.
She doesn't want to ghost him. She's going to tell him.
She's been with him for a year.
She's supposed to be like it's over. I'm done. Walk away.
She's been with him for a
2
year.
minutes.
Yeah. So obviously, if you just met the guy, you have no obligation toward him. But obviously, a year is a long time, and I don't know if it's a relationship, a situationship, friends with benefit, whatever. I mean, dating can connotate a lot of things.
Boyfriend in a year.
Yeah.
She didn't say I'm banging him on the side and I want to dump him.
I understand. Okay. So long story short, I would just keep it as brief as possible. The bottom line is you're dismissing him from your affections. That's the bottom line. So there's really no easy way to parse it. So it's like getting the consolation prize. It's like, okay, you're not going to Hawaii, but here's a toaster for you. You're not good enough. You're good enough for somebody.
Give him a gift?
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm just saying. I didn't understand that part.
I don't know what, for example, I don't know what this guy's emotional IQ is. Maybe he's pretty strong mentally and he could take it, or maybe he'll, be a sniveling pile of whatever. So it depends. I don't know how into her. For all we know, he's not. Maybe he looks at it as a relief. Maybe he's like, oh my god, I can finally move on. Maybe he's letting me go. I was gonna what if he was gonna break up with her the next day? We don't know.
So wait, so she walks in. Whatever advice you give her, she walks in. She's like, Dale. I'm just going to call him Dale.
Yeah.
It's kind of a loser name. Yeah. No offense to anybody who's named Dale. All our good listeners named Dale. You're great.
I was going to Kyle.
But she walks in and she goes, Dale, I got to talk to you. He goes, before you say anything, Mia, I think we should break up. And she's like, son of a...
You got to... Mia,
awesome.
Mia, it's not that I can't do better. I can, obviously, but,
Mia, what did you want to say? What? No, I was going to break up with you.
Yeah, sure you were.
Sure you were, baby.
Yeah.
Baby, I got you.
Make you feel better about yourself. Okay, you can break up
Teddy,
with me.
short or long?
Yeah, short. Keep it short. Just keep it. Just say, you can give the standard, hey, it's not you, it's me speech. Just say, there's no other guy, because, guys can get jealous and territorial, as we know. So you could just say something, you could just say something like this.
A woman's not a territory. Teddy.
Our relationship has run its course. I just feel that there's no future path between us. Just something real generic where you're not really making it personal.
Okay, I want to break up with you. There's no.
I would be like the most horrible woman on a date. If I was a woman on a dating app, I'd be like, I'd be like Medusa.
I don't see a scenario where I could be in the same room with you for any longer than. All right, got to go.
Kill Bill. He goes. You don't have a future. So we don't.
So short and sweet. You're saying.
I would just say keep it short. Don't make it personal. Don't bring up any of his so-called shortcomings. Just say, you know what, our relationship has been great, but unfortunately, I think we've taken it as far as we could go, and unfortunately, there's no path forward for both of us. So I think it's best if we grow and explore our own separate ways, and just leave it as generic, and just leave it at that. You're not ghosting the guy. You don't want to say anything personal, like you're bad in bed, or
Why is it immediately with you every time it's bad in bed?
No, I'm just saying.
Every time we talk about a breakup,
but that's a thing. That's a thing.
Every time we talk about a breakup, though,
that's
your first response.
No, but that's a thing. But you don't want to. Obviously, guys have fragile egos, so you can't. So I'm just saying we don't know what the reason is, but obviously, let's just say the relationship has run its course. That's the bottom line. For whatever reason, it's time for us to move on. He's, I'm assuming he's about the same age, so he's young. It's not like he's, going to not meet anybody else. But on the flip side, if I was talking to Dale or whoever,
say Dale,
yeah, I would just say, dude, here's the hardest part of a relationship. You have to know when it's over, because sometimes the guy's the last to know. It's like the Marines; you're the first to go and last to know, because you have to. And we talked about this before. Women in general have multiple options at their disposal at all times and can replace the guy immediately, no matter.
He should be happy that. So he should be happy that he had a year with Mia.
Yeah, you know what? You had your turn. Your turn's over, and eventually it's going to be somebody else's turn. You don't own Mia. And here's the bottom line: people could break up for whatever reason they so choose. They don't need to even give you an explanation. I mean, you're not.
What if he starts crying and freaking out? Does she just walk away? Does she say, "Listen, I really don't want to deal with this," or does she say something like, That's why I'm leaving. You're whining, and they just walk out. I mean, is that it? Just if he starts doing something, does she just walk out?
I mean, I guess assuming he's not like mentally unstable, like maybe just give the guy a pat on the shoulder. So this hopefully, I don't know. Like I said, the bottom line is when you're being dismissed, it's like being dismissed from a job. People take it personally. You're being dismissed from a relationship, which is personal to a lot of people. You've been there a year, and like I said,
been there for a year.
Yeah, you've been there for a year. Obviously maybe he has.
You're talking about the job. I thought you meant Mia.
No, I'm just saying. No, I'm just saying maybe you have a complete, because people have different perceptions. Like maybe his perception is that, wow, everything's going really great, and he feels completely blindsided, or maybe he's thinking, hey, you know what, maybe this is getting a little stale. We don't know what Dale or whoever his name is thinking. But yeah, to answer Mia's question, just keep it generic. Don't get too personal. Just say, just parse it by saying, hey, there's nobody else. Just say, I think our relationship has just run its course, and I think it's time we just explore other options. Good luck in your future endeavors. We can remain friends, which is not true because you'll never talk to him again. She'll block him on all social medias. But just to say that, just so he doesn't, turn into, go into stalker mode. Let's assume Dale's just a regular, well-adjusted guy with a normal emotional IQ who could handle it. He'll have a few beers with some friends.
Okay.
He'll play some music really loud.
So Teddy,
get it out of his system.
So Teddy, now
7 stages of grief, all that good stuff.
Our guest today is a professional psychologist.
Yes,
she is a professional psychologist.
I'm excited.
And I'm wondering.
I'm excited.
Here's what I'm wondering: if she would be the first guest ever to agree with your tip, because I have to say that 99% of the guests, when I bring them up and I say, hey, what do you think of Ted's answer? Most of them don't agree. So, Lisa, do you agree with Ted's assessment of how Mia should break up with her boyfriend?
I'd give him an 8 out of 10.
What is happening? Okay.
It's okay to agree with an idiot once in a while.
That was a solid B answer.
Yeah.
Okay. And you actually, you've taught classes. So, a B is fine by you, right?
C's get degrees too.
Okay, this is unprecedented.
You can't come on the air and in public and agree with an idiot because you are on a show called The 303 Is, because that would actually,
but everyone disagrees with you. It's so funny that someone actually, a professional, actually agreed with you. Okay, so let's do this. Our guest this week is Dr. Lisa Cromer. Dr. Cromer, welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
All right. So this is where you can take a break because I'm going to do something that I like to do when we have smart people on. Okay. So let me go through this. Dr. Cromer is a clinical psychologist and a professor of psychology at Tulsa University. She is also the director of SPARTA, the study of the Prevention, Adjustment, and Resilience to Trauma Adversity Research Lab. She's the co-director of Titan, the Tulsa Institute of Trauma, Adversity, and Injustice. She has completed her degree at the University of Oregon, go Ducks, and she has completed a clinical internship at SUNY Upstate Medical University in the Child Psychiatry Department. Okay, she was for 2 years visiting assistant professor at the psychology department at Syracuse University. And if you right now are wondering why she agreed to be on this show, so are we. Lisa, did I miss anything?
That was awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, that is crazy. That is, I don't know if we've ever had anybody on here that has had so many accolades. Now, everybody listening probably thinks that Dr. Cromer is here to help us with Ted, right? And all of his issues. But you are actually one of the world's leading experts in nightmares and how they affect us both physically and emotionally. Am I on target with that?
You're pretty close. Actually, I do a nightmare treatment.
Oh.
So I take nightmares away. So Ted might give people nightmares,
Wow.
and then I take them away.
I like that.
Ted, you know what? I can tell
like
you
yin
right
and
now.
yang.
I can tell you right now, Ted gives lots of people nightmares all the time. Okay, short version. What exactly do you do besides, we're talking about getting rid of nightmares. What do you do, short version, to help people? So everybody knows kind of how you do things.
In terms of the nightmare treatment, it is a cognitive behavioral therapy treatment, which means we talk to people, teach them, and it's actually for kids. So I treat kids ages 6 to 17. It is a 5-session treatment, and we really kind of teach them how to harness the imagination. So we use conscious awakening to teach kids how to train their brains, or we talk about being the director of their dreams, so that they learn how to master what's happening when they're asleep.
So it kind of seems impossible that you can do that, but I like the concept of it, and I have been reading some of the things that you do. It's pretty cool. So when we're talking about how nightmares affect everybody, what are some long-term and short-term effects of having reoccurring nightmares.
Yeah, it is really the reoccurring chronic nightmares that's the problem, right? Lots of us, almost everybody has had a nightmare once in a while. And that's really normative. So we don't want to get all alarmed about having occasional nightmares or there's a stressor in your life, you have nightmares. But those chronic ones are related to all kinds of different mental health issues. And so different people have different effects. What my lab is studying is suicide. And so there's some longitudinal research to show that not only are people more likely to have suicidal thoughts if they have chronic nightmares, but they're actually more likely to die by suicide. And so what we're doing in my lab is what we call a quasi-experimental design, because you can't randomly assign people to having nightmares or not, but we're assigning people to not having nightmares or not. So we have people go into a treatment condition or a waitlist condition, and then we compare them post-treatment or post-waitlist to see if suicidality goes down. So far, this is really new research, but it is looking promising.
Wow. Okay. So when we're talking about like sleep and everything, one of the things that you said that I thought was really interesting is that instead of talking about the negative effects of sleep, that we should really be focusing on getting good sleep, and that should be our focus. So what are some things, and you know, kind of talking about like good sleep and bad sleep, and I'm guessing, you know, being able to sleep through the night, not having these nightmares and that kind of stuff. What are some things that we can do to sleep better?
There's a lot of things you can not do and things you can do. Do you want to hear both?
Yes, I do, because I'm probably doing all the bad things.
Yeah. So one of the first things we do is we try to stop people from doing things that interfere with sleep, right? So alcohol is unfortunately really bad for disrupting sleep. Caffeine.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to disagree with that. Sorry, I disagree. But okay, go ahead.
Yeah. No, a lot of people think that.
What
right?
kind of alcohol?
Like you can drink
Yes. Is it all alcohol or just the beer I'm drinking right now? Okay. All right.
Yeah, so actually, even a little bit of alcohol will disrupt sleep and give us not as good a quality sleep. Caffeine after 2 o'clock in the afternoon, screens. So we get people not to have screens an hour or two before bedtime. Having no electronics in the room, get your pets off of the bed, like all kinds of things that people are doing to try to help them to sleep actually makes it worse. Right. So there's things you can do to sleep better too, but it kind of looks like what I just said is already kind of not sitting too comfortably with you.
No. I just think
the poster child for lack of sleep.
So I think what Ted and I want to do is we want to justify our vices.
Yeah.
Right. But it's funny because everything you've just said, I do. I have the stupid dog on the bed. I stopped doing that. But just recently, like 4 days ago. Yeah. I obviously drink way too much. And I blame COVID on that. Yeah. I was fine. I was fine until I was locked in my own house. Yeah. I was fine. But I probably drink way too much coffee. I do all that kind of stuff. Does health make a difference? Like if I'm healthy as far as like physically healthy, like I'm in good shape, I'm not taking a whole bunch of medicines and stuff. Will that help too? Is that a big effect?
I think that actually getting good sleep helps you be healthier. So being healthy, maybe, I don't know. I think it's much more like if we look at people who are not getting enough sleep, muscle repair doesn't happen as well. If you have an injury or surgery, your body wants to sleep lots, right? And that's because growth hormones are released while you're sleeping. You think about how kids have their growth spurts in the summertime, right? Eighth graders, when they show up and they're a foot taller, well, they were getting a lot of sleep. So when, if you want to talk about being healthy, like when I work with athletes, we really work to get them to try to get a good solid 8 to 10 hours of sleep a night. So your muscles can be 15% stronger. Even your fast twitch fibers can be quicker if you're getting really good sleep and sleep extensions. So kind of you've got the right connection, different direction.
Okay. And that kind of explains a lot. Ted is a terrible golfer and he gets terrible sleep. I mean, he literally complains about his sleeping habits all the time, and that could affect his awful golf.
Well, I probably see more than I think. It's just it's very disjointed. It's not 8-10 hours straight. It's just like 3 here, 2 there. But yeah, I'll wake up at like 2 in the morning and stay up till like 5, like wide awake, like perfectly wide awake. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And obviously all the stuff you're talking about. But here, I have a quick question. So for good sleep, I've heard this. I don't know if this is true or not. Rubbing magnesium oil on your feet or tart cherry juice. Have you heard of those two potential remedies? No, that's a real thing.
Nope, haven't heard about that.
Okay. Yeah, because I guess tart cherry juice has natural melatonin in it, so supposedly that's helpful. And then magnesium oil in the feet. I don't know if that's like a urban myth, but no, I've been reading about that.
Your brain releases melatonin all by itself,
Sure.
right?
Yeah, I see. That's okay. So that's kind of the thing. So before we get to the nightmares, because again, I went into a deep dark hole. You spoke at a thing called Sleep 2025 in Seattle, Washington, right?
I did.
And it is a collection, and I looked at the agenda. I literally went through the entire agenda for this year. It is a collection of all the people that are in the sleep industry, really, right? I mean, that have to do with sleep, all the way from drugs to people who study, all that kind of stuff. You have literally probably seen or heard everything that could possibly deal with sleep, right? I mean, is there any crazy thing you haven't heard?
There's people who know way more about sleep than me, so there's lots of things I haven't heard for sure.
Okay, so when you're going there and you're talking about these things and you're talking with all these people, when you hear something. Okay, no one's going to listen. So no one in the conference is going to listen. Okay, so you can say this. Did you hear in the last year or whatever, have you heard some things that you just said, I can't believe that this is real, or that it's so experimental or so out there that we've never heard about it and we need to, or we should avoid it at all costs?
No.
Okay. The sleep cover up continues.
I have a question.
I mean, not at a conference like that. I mean, there's all kinds of pseudoscience about things. I don't know. Like I heard people talking about rubbing magnesium oil on their feet or something.
Well, don't forget about saying
all kinds of old wives' tales.
I thought saying the Lord's Prayer backwards, that was a surefire way.
So when you, I'm guessing, because you're on Instagram, you're on TikTok, you're on all that stuff, you've got to roll through some things and you see it and you've got to be like, why? How could anybody believe this stuff, right? I mean, there's got to be that stuff out there.
Yeah, I don't really pay attention to it.
Oh, you are. I mean, that's pretty good. Yeah.
So doctor, I have a question. So, I'm assuming most people, when they give you feedback about nightmares, it's verbal. They're verbally telling you what they recall. But my question is, can you objectively measure a nightmare, something like via like a PET scan? Or something like that, where you can objectively measure, serial killers, certain parts of their brains light up when they see certain things, so that's how they can objectively measure if there's brain damage in certain people. So can you do that for nightmares?
There's probably people that have tried to do some imaging in terms of looking at the brain during nightmares. Maybe I'm really focused on helping people. So rather than studying what's going on, I'm really focused on what can we do to understand what's maintaining these nightmare cycles, and then how can we break into the cycle. So I'm very what you would call applied instead of more basic science, and the field's vast. So I don't even try to keep up on all the basic science, quite honestly.
Okay, so let's do this. We know dreams, we know nightmares. What actually constitutes when someone's having a nightmare, and what is it?
Yeah, that's a good question. Because one of the things that we spend a lot of time on, even before we let somebody enter one of our studies, is try to figure out, are they really having a nightmare, or are they having some other kind of nocturnal event, or like a night terror, right? So kids, especially when they're younger, might have night terrors, and that we can't treat those with a nightmare treatment. So a nightmare is a dream that you wake up from that you can remember that you had. You may not remember all the details, and you experience some fear. And that's a really critical aspect, because what we think is happening is that the subconscious brain, the sleeping brain, is saying, I can't tolerate this. This is too scary. Wake up, buddy. And so by waking up, what a normal process that your brain does during dreaming is fear extinction. And so if you wake up, the fear extinction doesn't happen.
Oh, you haven't solved, you haven't solved the nightmare.
Yeah, you're escaping, right? So by waking up, by having a nightmare, you're escaping this dream, which is just your imagination, right? The story that your brain is telling you. And so we actually see a bad dream as progress, because now if you can tolerate it and not wake up, not try to escape from it, now fear extinction can happen, and eventually that bad dream will just go away. But what we do with the treatment is we get people to try to anticipate what they want to dream and teach their brain how to have pleasant dreams so that they can stay asleep.
So are there levels of nightmares? Like is there like a obviously it's a nightmare, like a 1 or a 2 level all the way up to a 10 level? Are you able to like differentiate that?
Yeah, we take people's subjective report, so from 0 to 5, and we watch that over the course of treatment to see if the fear comes down. And so that's actually one of the things that nightmare research are interested in, is what improves first. Is it the number of nightmares somebody is having, or is it how scary it is? What do you think comes down first? The number of nightmares or how scary it is?
I'm guessing how scary it is.
I would have thought that too, but it's actually the number of nightmares.
Holy cow!
Isn't that wild?
Yeah, it is, because I'm just going to share this. My worst nightmare is when my nightmare is losing to Ted in golf, because he's so bad. Yeah, that is.
I get strokes though, so
that is
okay.
a terror.
It's okay.
That is the fear that I have. That's that thing, and and even though I beat Ted all the time, it's very difficult to every once in a while not have that nightmare come around. So yeah, I could see that. That is, so they have less nightmares, but they're still just as scary.
Yeah, we see the fear of the nightmares start to come down, but when we track large groups of people, on average, we first see a decline in number of nightmares.
So how does a parent? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, so what we think is driving that, so I always talk about mechanisms of change, right? Like, why does this work? And so what we think is happening is what I'll say in psychological terms is self-efficacy. So this idea of being able to control their nightmares. Because when I first started researching this about, 13 or so years ago, I had a kid show up after we had done the informed consent. They showed up for the first treatment. They'd had nightmares for years. And she was like, yeah, my nightmares went away. I'm like, what are you talking about? You've had nightmares for years. Well, you told me that how the treatment was going to work. And so I tried it. And she figured it out on her own. She didn't even need to enter the study. So when you think about it, somebody who has insomnia is afraid that they won't sleep.
Right.
Somebody who has a nightmare disorder is afraid they will sleep. And I can't imagine a whole lot of anything being scarier than being afraid of going to sleep. Right. Because if you can't sleep, everything else goes out of whack. And so many mental health issues are related to poor sleep. So by getting into this treatment, people are finding out, wait, you're going to not just help me sleep, but you can take my nightmares away. And it's like the first time they get this idea that the nightmares are not in control of them, that we can turn that script and have them in control of their dreams. That empowerment is really powerful. And so I think that is the mechanism of change, is self-efficacy and this belief that you can actually make a difference.
Wow. Okay, so let's just say, because you deal with kids, let's just say that you're a parent. When does my kid having nightmares become a problem that I need to see somebody? How would I recognize that as a parent, or be able to? I mean, even to ask that question, because I was a parent, I never asked that question. But how do you get to that point where you can ask that question, that's a thing that's actually messing with them?
Yeah, if they're having regular nightmares, like we won't treat anyone who doesn't have nightmares at least once a week for at least a month. But we really haven't had people participate that haven't had at least weekly nightmares for several months in a row. A lot of the kids have had nightmares for years, and some come in and they're having 7 to 10 nightmares a week, if you can imagine. So if your kid's having regular, consistent, predictable nightmares, it's worth looking into treatment. The nice thing about, or one of the amazing things about this treatment, is we teach them how to take their own nightmares away, right? 5 sessions, that's it. And then they know what to do if they ever get another nightmare again. So there are medications for nightmares, but if you stop taking the medication, the nightmares can come back. And sometimes they'll come back even stronger. So cognitive behavioral therapies are really nice in that they're teaching you how to change this problem for the rest of your life.
Here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that some parents would want to give their kids something to help them sleep. Does that? I mean, I know I've taken things, and honestly, I go to sleep at whatever and wake up, and I don't have any recollection of that. Is that just kind of a cover then? I mean, because you really don't want to give kids, drugs and
like Lunesta or Ambien and stuff like that.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. So is that something that would just be a cover and doesn't really help the problem?
I would not give a kid something to sleep without a physician's advice, honestly. And there's really interesting research that's a little bit scary on melatonin, that the melatonin that you just buy off the shelf is not regulated by the FDA. And so some studies have actually evaluated how much melatonin is in a pill, and it could be anywhere from 20 times of what is on the label to absolutely none. And so, if melatonin is in order, I would really recommend having it prescribed so that you're getting a more regulated substance. But melatonin may actually be like the artificial melatonin that's prescribed. The sleep conference I was at, people were talking about may cause more nightmares. So melatonin is related to more lucid dreaming. Huh. And so people might be given melatonin to their kids, and then voila, a few more nightmares. So that would be an easy solution for some people, is to work with a physician to just see, what is a kid taking, and could that be related to the difficulties they're having.
Huh. So melatonin can, it's either a placebo, a sugar pill, or it either exacerbates vivid dreams or nightmares, it seems.
It's possible, but melatonin can be really helpful for a lot of kids who are having various difficulties. And so it's not to say it's always bad. It is do it with a physician's advice and supervision.
Okay. And then here, I was doing my research, and tell me if I'm right. Nightmares generally go away as we get older.
The nightmares that I see are there to stay. And so if kids are having, periodic nightmares, it's possible they'll grow out of it. But otherwise, like I said, we treat kids ages 6 to 17. And so chronic nightmares are not something that you're probably, if you've been experiencing them for some period of time, that you're just going to grow out of. Now, if somebody's only been having nightmares for a few weeks, I'd say hold off. They might go away.
Okay, so I have a theory, and why adults have less nightmares. You tell me if this sounds good. Adults have less nightmares because we have jobs, we're married, and we have kids, and we're already living a nightmare, and we don't need our minds to kick us in the nuts every night. Does that theory make sense? And I'd be more than willing to talk at Sleep 2026 about that theory.
I think that that's an empirical question, so I'd need to see some data on that.
Oh, God, you know what? There is nothing like talking to a doctor to take your joke, and she's able to just able to undo me.
So I just have one quick question. So what if someone said, doctor, and this is pretty benign, their reoccurring nightmare is being left out with friends in high school. That would be a school age kid. Like, what is that, like an anxiety thing, or is that like abandonment, or like if you just heard that, like my reoccurring nightmare is my friends are excluding me in high school or grade school.
Okay, hold on. Before you ask that, you obviously have to do research on what nightmares mean to help, right? I mean, you're
Nope.
It doesn't matter to you what the nightmare is.
Nope. And, when I first started doing this work, the work actually started with adults. And I came along and was invited to be part of an adaptation for kids. But the adult treatment is trauma-related nightmares.
Oh, sure.
And so
yeah.
the initial kid treatment was for trauma-related nightmares. And what I found in the first couple years was that was just too hard to tell if kids had trauma-related nightmares or just stress nightmares or where they were coming from. Because trauma in kids, it's tricky. Sometimes parents don't know about kids' trauma, or the kid doesn't remember the trauma, right? Because maybe it happened before the age of childhood amnesia and they have no memory from it, but they've had nightmares ever since that traumatic thing happened when they were 2 years old, and now they're 7. But you can't do a trauma treatment if somebody doesn't remember the trauma. So fairly early on, one of my first adaptations of the treatment was getting rid of everything trauma related and just focusing on sleep and nightmares and not doing anything related to trauma treatment.
So it doesn't really matter if you're go to school, you go to high school and you don't have any pants on, you forget your locker combination, I'm just going to throw one out there that maybe some kid had when he was little. Godzilla constantly chasing him and being outside of his house when it's impossible. I don't know why I don't know why that person had that. So it doesn't really matter what the dream is or the nightmare is?
No, we just teach kids to change it. So we don't analyze the nightmare. We do look for themes. And so we look for, how are you feeling? Is it a theme of safety or intimacy, or are you afraid? And so they identify the main theme of the nightmare so that when they learn how to change the nightmare, we are addressing that, fear component or intimacy component or safety component to make sure if you felt unsafe or you didn't feel powerful, now you do feel powerful. And we do think that that's an important piece in terms of the mastery over the nightmare. But I mean, when what you're talking about, good grief, like even I've had that, I call them school mares, where, once I woke up in the middle of the night, I kid you not, after I had finished my undergrad degree years later and I was working, I hadn't gone to grad school yet. And I was like, I'm pretty sure I forgot that I had registered for a class and I never showed up. And I'm pretty sure I haven't actually graduated. And I got up in the middle of the night and was like digging under the stairs in a box of papers until I found my diploma. And then I was like, okay, I actually have a diploma. They wouldn't have given me a diploma if I didn't actually graduate. And then I went back to bed.
Yeah,
so,
I think I dream like that. Yeah.
Awesome.
I think I had a dream like
right?
that. Yeah.
And it's funny. This is actually not uncommon. I've talked to other people in academia or higher ed or whatever, where they're like, "Oh yeah, I have those school mares where it's like, it's final exam day, and I realized I forgot to go to class all semester long."
Yeah.
Yes.
And right, and it's like, so who knows what that, that's probably related to feeling overwhelmed in our lives or ineffective in our lives or whatever. So if that's the case, then we can change that before going back to sleep.
So it's funny you should mention that, because I remember actually not too long ago, and I do remember this, I had a dream that I was in college and I couldn't find my next class, and I was just wandering the halls, and it was just constant, and it was obviously, but it was just weird because I've been out of college.
You know what's funny? I had
years.
that exact same dream, and I just stopped and I just went to the bar.
Okay.
Yeah, I just went to the bar.
Okay.
Here, but let's do this. Let's go to the Wayback Machine. Okay. I imagine when you were in college, you did not follow the same thing that Teddy and I did, where we would
trajectory.
We would drink heavily and then try to go to class every once in a great while. That you kind of started to have a focus on what you wanted to do. I mean, kind of What? No, that's you're smarter than everybody else. But when did you decide that nightmares and that kind of thing was the thing you wanted to study? When did that kind of jump out at you and say, like, I feel like this is something that's important and I can help people?
About 5 years into studying nightmares.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not what you expected,
Yeah.
right?
No.
So I was a trauma. I mean, I still am a trauma specialist, but my main focus was interpersonal trauma. And when I started at the University of Tulsa, my colleague Joanne Davis had this nightmare treatment for adults, and she was like, "Hey, one of my grad students adapted this for a dissertation. Do you want to get on board?" And I was like, "Sure." And I was just learning about sleep and nightmares, and I started doing all this sleep work and nightmare work, and I found it really interesting. But as I saw the treatment working, so I just came in with an interest in trauma and an interest in kids, not specific to sleep. I used to be a terrible sleeper. And as I learned about sleep, I was like, whoa, I should give this a try. And it turns out, like, sleeping's amazing, you guys. Like, seriously, having a regular sleep schedule, waking up feeling refreshed, not using an alarm. I was like, this is amazing. I love sleep. And as I saw the nightmare treatment working, I was like, what the heck is going on? Like, how is this? So then I did start to like really dive in and try to understand it. And so probably 10 or 11 years ago, I started to really take a deep dive to try to figure out what the heck is going on. Because we know cognitive behavioral treatments, there's hundreds of them, right? They work for almost any disorder and you use them in different ways. So it's not one treatment for everything. But I was trying to figure out like what the heck is going on. And so I did start to take a really deep dive into trying to understand what's going on in our brain. And as I saw more and more kids improving, it just really got my attention. And I'm having a blast trying to figure it all out, quite honestly. So I've treated over 100 kids, and we've only had 3 that had zero benefit.
Wow, that's pretty good.
That's a good percentage.
Yeah. One of them had really bad PTSD, really, really, really bad PTSD. And eventually they did get a benefit from using a medication, but our treatment did not help them. And we think they just really need to address the PTSD first. Another one had really bad chronic pain. And after our treatment not working, and she tried and we debriefed, and she was like, Dr. Cromer, I really wish we could have had this work. I tried so hard. And I'm like, well, I feel really bad too. I'm like, what do you think? Like you did everything right. You tried everything. What do you think's going on? And she's like, I really think it's the chronic pain that we got to figure that out first. And yeah, so, it's kind of interesting. So what I'm doing in my current clinical trial is after we've treated people, we follow them for a couple of months because we're trying to monitor the suicidality to see if there's some lasting effects. And then I ask them, like, what do you think's going on? Because I just want to, you can use all these instruments in the world, but they're not that great. And so sometimes just a conversation and asking people, what do you think is going on? And I tell you, when you talk to an 8-year-old and an 11-year-old who is suicidal and they're not anymore, and they had nightmares and they don't have nightmares anymore, and you say, we're trying to figure out the relationship between suicide and nightmares. What do you think is going on? Because you live this. And when they tell me what they think, man, I'm just like mind blown. It's amazing. I'm like learning to love qualitative research. So when kids are telling me that, well, I didn't really want to die, but I didn't know how the nightmares were going to stop. And I just wanted them to stop. So I just wanted a way out of the nightmares. I'm like, okay, that's pretty powerful.
Wow.
Right?
Listen, I'm a teacher, so I get it. I've dealt with kids, and you get that good feeling. But wow, that is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Dr. Cromer, actually,
it really is.
Actually, what you just mentioned, that actually is a segue into my question for you. So, have you ever? So most of the kids you said you do therapy with are 6 to 17-year age range. So, have you ever did the therapy with a child, but it turns out that I don't know, you can't diagnose it, but has it ever led to like an undiagnosed condition such as like schizophrenia? Because we know boys develop it younger and girls develop it later. So like, were there any signs like maybe, their mind, the nightmare was just like a byproduct of something more like a serious underlying, brain condition, not suicidal necessarily? Is that ever?
Yeah,
is it ever?
that's a really thoughtful question. Most of the kids that we have in the treatment have other diagnoses, and some of them have multiple diagnoses. And we're pretty unusual in that we don't exclude. Like if you read about clinical trials, often if you have other disorders, you're not eligible. We take them all. And we see these, what we call comorbidities, but I don't see the nightmare being a sign of like really serious mental illness like that. And so I think that when people aren't getting any sleep, I mean, if you're really seriously sleep deprived, you can get psychotic symptoms.
Oh, she's talking about you, Ted. She's literally talking about you right now.
Well, she's talking about someone in the third person, like a fictitious third person. She's not talking to me directly.
Okay, so
one can have psychotic symptoms. There you go.
So
generalizing.
As I was looking at this, I was looking through some stuff, and I found a quote from a couple of different people, some concepts. People who have more frequent nightmares age faster and die earlier. True or false? What do you think?
I haven't read that, but I think that that's plausible.
Okay. There's a clear association. Nightmare frequency to be a strong predictor of premature death more than smoking, obesity, poor diet, or lack of physical activity. What do you think of that one?
I think that's possible.
Okay. All right. Because I was looking at this, and this is, I don't even know this guy's name. Maybe you ran into him. Abidemi Otiaki at the Imperial College of London.
I haven't read it, but you know what? I don't read the adult literature. I read the kid literature.
Okay.
Because it's just, there's hundreds and hundreds of articles coming out, right? I wouldn't be able to do any work if I read all of it. So.
Yeah. So no, I'm just thinking that, so again, and I found, this is the funniest thing, I found your name in an article that was written about nightmares, and I actually talked to the guy who wrote the article, and he gave me, and he said, he goes, you have to contact Dr. Cromer. She's really the person to talk to. I just wrote an article about it. So I was just like, oh yeah, absolutely. And then the funniest thing is when you agreed to be on the show, I was just like, why is this person who is like one of, I'm guessing you're one of very few people, a handful of people that are doing this. So I was pretty excited. It just kind of blew my mind. But while I'm doing that, let me ask you this question. So people find out you are a doctor who deals with nightmares, right? And people know this, okay? So I'm going to give you a scenario, and you tell me if this has ever happened before. You are at a doctor party, and I'm imagining that there are parties for doctors, right, where all the doctors get together.
They're called cocktail parties.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, different doctors, okay? Now, you meet a heart doctor, and obviously you have to do small talk, so you ask him, hey, the Grinch thing, is it true? If someone does good deeds, like really good deeds, would their heart grow 2 sizes, and would that make them a better person, or would that kill them, right? So that's the thing you might ask a heart doctor, okay? Now, hold on. You get to a brain surgeon, and because you want to make small talk and you really don't know this person, you just bring up, I'm sure this happens all the time, you bring up the question, young Frankenstein, if Igor had actually gotten the brain of the doctor instead of the crazy person, could you build a person who could live? Okay? And then you tell them that you are a doctor who specializes in nightmares. Do they immediately, without hesitation, bring up a weird dream or a weird nightmare that they've had and then ask you about it? Has that happened?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For sure.
How does it drive you crazy when it happens?
No, it doesn't. I mean, I'm a psychologist, right? So what I get more often is when people meet me and then they're like, "Oh, you're a psychologist, you're analyzing me," right? So that's the thing I've gotten tens of thousands of times when I meet somebody in an elevator or at a party or, my kid's event or something like that, where it's like, "Oh, psychologist, you're analyzing
Do
me."
you immediately look at them and say, I really don't care enough about you to even,
You
not
know what,
thinking about
years
you right now.
ago, yeah. Years ago, I realized I found the perfect line, and that is, "You need to pay me for that." And that immediately calms people right down. So, yeah.
I love that concept.
Well, it's like the Joker and Batman. If you're good at something, never do it for free, right? It's true.
Okay, I can actually absolutely see that. Oh wow. Okay. So I did. Here's the funniest thing. I promised Dr. Cromer that I asked. So first of all, this is kind of funny because I never know how to deal with a doctor, right? So I asked her immediately. I said, do you want me to call you Dr. Cromer all the time, or can I call you Lisa? But I promise I won't call you Doc, because that's probably got to be a super annoying thing. Is that right?
Yeah, I've worked with a ton of athletes, and so Doc is like, I'm so used to Doc.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm fine with it.
I guess I see it. You know what? I guess I see it in things that they have like those real stories about like quarterbacks and running, all those things on TV. I guess they do it all the time. But I promised I wouldn't do that, so I'm so proud of myself for not doing it. But let's do this. Before we let you go, if somebody sees this, and I'm guessing not many kids are going to listen to this show unless they're really messed up and there's no way you could help them. If I'm a parent and I see some of these things happening, how can I get in touch with you or somebody to help my kid deal with this? Or how can I find out information about this so that I can help my child?
Yeah, I mean, you can give out my email address. That's fine.
Okay.
So if people are interested in the treatment, and I can channel them to the right way, like wherever they want to go, and that's lisa-cromer@utulsa.edu. And also, you can just put in Lisa Cromer Nightmares, and it will populate on the interwebs.
Oh, yes, it will.
There's lots out there. So you can find my lab website, study links, all kinds of stuff. So,
all right, that is
Cromer with
that is really awesome. Thank you so much for being on the show. And again,
thanks for having me. I just thought this was a hoot.
Thank you, doctor.
I am so amazed. I'm so amazed every time anybody wants to be on the show. But when someone actually very intelligent says yes, I'm just like,
could you just stop sniveling just one time? Jesus.
I can't.
I got to take a shower now.
All right. Dr. Cromer, thank you so much for being on the show. Whatever you're doing, we wish you all the best. And wherever Sleep 2026 is, if it's in Chicago, I'm going to pay the money, and I'm going to go, and I'm going to find out all about sleep.
Awesome. That sounds great. Well, thanks for having me.
Thank you, doctor.
A lot of people don't know that nightmares are so serious. So I was thrilled that you wanted to talk about it, honestly. Yeah. So you're doing some good. Give yourselves a pat on the back.
It was insightful. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
All right.
Great. Thanks.
Take care. Bye now.
Thanks. Wow.
That was insightful. Yeah.
Dude.
So it's not really, it doesn't sound like it's like the nightmare per se. It's like the underlying lack of sleep, which seems to be the main. So almost like the nightmare is a manifestation of lack of sleep. Because, basically your brain's awake all the time, and you're just basically, it's like your mind's playing tricks with you, Yeah. You know what I mean?
And she knows the trick. It's like watching him. It's like if a magician cuts somebody in half.
Right.
She's there to tell you how it happens, so it's not freaking you out anymore.
But it's funny. She brought up a point. I did have a nightmare. I don't want to say it was like recent, but I knew I was having it. I was lucid enough, and I just powered through. Like instead of like waking up, like when the really bad part came, I just said, you know what, F it. I'm just going to go right through. Like when you have the dream that you're driving really fast, and before you hit the wall, you wake up. It wasn't like that, but it was something similar, analogous to that. So so I powered through, and it was nothing came of it. So.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, right? I mean, if you can beat...
You confronted your fears.
She's going to teach you how to beat the nightmare.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. And I didn't want to get into it, but my nightmare when I was a kid is so weird, man.
What was your nightmare?
It was Godzilla. I watched a lot of Godzilla.
Like Godzilla and Rodan when there was like the 1970s one
man.
where it was like a puppet.
like Godzilla, every night.
Yeah.
Every night I would nightmare.
Yeah.
That Godzilla was, like 20 miles away, and I'm on the second floor, and I can picture my window in my bedroom.
He's 50 feet tall. He can reach.
But I mean, I hear the right, that thing, right?
Yeah.
And you look out the window, and you see Godzilla, and you're just like, holy fuck, I got it. I have to get away.
Yeah.
But you just stand there.
Yeah.
You stand there like a jagoff.
Yeah.
And then I don't necessarily remember what I did, but whatever it is, I exacerbated it, and somehow Godzilla was angry at me and always came to the house. He never really went anywhere else. Like sometimes it looked like he was going somewhere else, and I'd be like, "Oh, thank you." And he'd be like, "Fuck!" And you would see Godzilla. I mean, like his face, his whole thing. It had to be from watching TV. It had to just be from watching too much TV.
Yeah, obviously you would have known about Godzilla had you not watched TV. Of
Endless,
course.
endless Godzilla movies. But it was so weird. But you start looking at all the different kinds of nightmares and the things that cause nightmares and it's just crazy.
So now the nightmare, like I said, nightmare for adults is you need a sewer scope because you got tree roots and it's going to cost you $7,000 to replace the pipe in your front yard, the one that doesn't belong to the city, the one that belongs to you. That's an adult nightmare.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, I guess you know what you don't. You have that life, and you can't have nightmares about it because it's just happening all the time to you.
Yeah.
So I guess I don't know. That's maybe why it goes away, or we're just better at manning up.
Yeah, you manage it better, and then obviously nightmare seems like it's more like anxiety, anxiousness, abandonment issues could be anything. Well, for example, your nightmare would be here's your real nightmare.
Losing to Ted.
No, I get a hole in one, and you never get one, and I get to talk about it ad nauseum until the day
I'm just so
expire.
not worried about that.
Which is weird.
I know.
Which is weird.
So here's what you guys don't see. Every time Teddy and I play golf, we get to a par 3, and he says, "Oh, somebody's going to get a hole in one. I got a feeling somebody's going to get a hole in one."
I don't actually sound like that. He's obviously using
Nope,
hyperbole.
It's exactly what he does. And then he's just like, if I got a hole in one, and then I have to obligatorily say, Ted, if you got a hole in one, I would probably kill myself. So so there is suicide going on, right? So okay, so that is a nightmare.
And yet you're still alive. Here you are.
Yeah. But then I mean, it's just such a recur. That you know what? I can't believe I don't have a recurring nightmare about that being said, because you say the same thing every time, and I say to you, Ted,
and then I duff it in the water. So
and I say to you, Ted, I have no fear that you're going to get a hole in one on this shot.
And the funny thing is, I'm sure, I'm not saying it's going to be me, but it's probably somebody in our group when we least expect it, when we're not thinking about it. That's when it's going to happen. And here's the funny thing:
you bring it up every time. It's impossible not to think about it.
It probably won't be me or you. That's the big nightmare. It'd be the third guy in our group who's just there.
Ted, let's be honest. It's probably going to be me.
Well,
I'm far better at you than golf.
Well, there's wishful thinking, and then there's delusion. Well, I don't. I just want to know, if I get the hole in one, what stage of grief are you going to be in first? Because there's 7 stages of grief. There's denial,
8, 19,
acceptance, anger.
No, I'll be way past
bargaining. So I don't know.
Here, so you know what? You know how how people will know that if you got a hole in one and before me. This is how people will know you're not on the show anymore. Yeah, because that's exactly what I would do. I'd be like, Mark. He's like, "Where's Ted?" I said, Ted cannot get in. Yeah, I've got a security guard out front. You see the security guy? He said, yeah. I said, that's for Ted.
I'd have to wear that like a badge of honor, unfortunately. In fact, I might get one of those customized T-shirts, like I got a hole in one before,
I got a hole in one before the guy who's really good that I golf with all the time.
And it's the arrow pointing to your house. Guy who lives in that house right there.
You know what? That would be... You know how you get a sign that says graduate, like 2025 graduate?
Yeah.
That would be such a great sign to get. You put it in somebody's house. I got a hole in one. He didn't. Yeah, I got a hole in one before this guy. And it goes right on his front lawn and it just stays there. Dude, that would be...
That plus the customized T-shirt. I think that's the 1-2 punch, so...
I got a hole in one. Ask the guy next to me if he did. That would... Oh, man.
I mean, that's not passive-aggressive at all, but if it were...
Dude,
that would be a good one.
That's actually a genius way to make money.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
We just tapped in a new revenue stream. I like that.
Yeah, but we just gave it to how many thousands of people right now?
Oh,
we got to stop doing that. I feel like we're giving good ideas away.
Yeah. We were just kidding, by the way.
Man, don't do that. All right. Before we go, I can't let this go We have to talk about this, and it'll be short and sweet.
And I got something to talk about too before we let it.
Go ahead, go ahead, because
Okay.
I want my thing to be
Now,
last.
now here's somebody, unfortunately, who was not listening to our podcast, since inception. And if they had been, they wouldn't be in the predicament they're in now.
So someone poisoned someone and got caught.
Colorado dentist sentenced to life in prison for poisoning his wife's protein shakes. 47-year-old guy. Of course, he's having multiple affairs. Did the Google search about what was the Google search he did?
Wait, he was clearly. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. He was getting. So he was married.
Yes.
He was having multiple affairs and getting away with it.
Yeah.
What was the purpose of killing his wife?
Didn't go into it. I'm not going to get into it. All it says conducted searches related to poison, including quote unquote how many grams of pure arsenic will kill a human. Good one.
Was that on his phone or his work computer?
Obviously, it's in his search. It's in his hard drive, which can be forensically recovered. And so whatever he did, and then I guess he tried to enlist the aid of his daughter to make a deep fake video of his wife to show that she was still somehow. I don't know what this guy did. Yeah. So he obviously.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. This guy killed his daughter.
Killed his wife.
Killed his wife.
Yeah.
And then tried to get his daughter to make a video to show that she was still alive?
It says during the trial, prosecutors said this guy had poisoned his wife over the course span of 10 days with arsenic, potassium cyanide, and tetrahydrozoline, a form of medicine that is found in over-the-counter eye drops and nasal spray. And the jurors found him guilty of attempting to cover up his scheme by asking others to fabricate evidence and lie, including his daughter, whom he asked to create a deepfake video of his wife. And he also targeted, so this guy was a bad hombre. Yeah.
Hold on a second. What a screwed up family that is.
Yeah.
So just let me get it straight. You poison your wife, right?
Oh, he ordered the arsenic from Amazon, by the way.
Okay.
Totally untraceable.
You stupidly poison your wife. Okay, now she's dead, and wherever you put her or whatever, I mean, she's got to be. You have to hide the body at this point, right?
No, she was in the hospital. She passed away in the hospital.
Oh,
she went to the hospital where obviously the blood work they ran found everything in her system.
And he thought he honestly thought that he could ask his daughter to help him cover it up. Wow.
Well,
dude,
obviously none of it worked.
But dude, that is.
Oh, and here's the other thing.
I mean, I could see asking your. Okay, here's what I see. I could see asking your best friend. I could see asking one of the other girls that you're banging on the side.
Yeah.
But man, when you start asking family members, that is.
Here's an unrelated joke. There's difference between men and women. Unrelated joke. So, a woman doesn't come home all night. The husband says, "Where you been?" And she goes, "I spent the night at a friend's house." So he calls her 10 best friends, and they all say she wasn't here. She wasn't here. A man doesn't come home all night. Comes home the next day. The wife says, "Where have you been?" She goes, "I spent the night at a friend's house." She calls 10 of his best friends. 8 of them said he spent the night at her house, and 2 of them said he's still there. That's the difference between men and women. Yes.
Oh my
That's
God.
my joke. That's my joke for the year. Thanks,
Teddy. That is so messed up. I mean, it's true, but so messed up. All right. So let me do mine because this you can't. I don't want this to go one more week without talking about it. Have you ever been to Alaska?
No.
Okay. I don't know if people in Alaska are smarter and dumber than people in other parts of America.
They're further away.
Okay. But here's what happened. Okay. So 2 years ago, there was a plane crash. And for the last 2 years, the National Transportation Safety Board has been conducting.
NTSB.
Okay.
Yeah, it sounds cooler when you say NTSB. Yeah,
okay.
But yeah, you're right.
The NTSB has been conducting an investigation to see what happened.
Sure.
And they finally figured out what happened. And if you honestly can believe that all of this happened, and well, it did, and it makes sense to you, okay? 6 hunters flew to Alaska to hunt moose.
Okay.
Okay, so a very deep place.
Yeah, we can reach it by plane.
Only reach it
What
by
was like
plane.
a Cessna? Like obviously it's a smaller type.
Smaller plane.
Aircraft, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so smaller plane, okay? They actually shot a moose, and it was massive. It was a gigantic.
Oh, yeah. So we weigh like 700. They weigh like 700 pounds, 1,000 pounds.
Dude, it was whatever
massive,
it was.
yeah.
They described the moose as gigantic.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's what they do: they load the moose meat into the plane.
Which of course increases the payload capacity.
It's fine.
of the
It's
plane,
fine.
yeah.
And they send the pilot on his way, and he drops the moose meat off, and then he comes back for the guys.
Okay. All right. Smart. All right. Makes sense.
Okay.
Yep. So
Now,
far, so good.
they have the guys, and they have a little bit of extra moose meat that they haven't done.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And they're right above the weight limit, but not completely above the weight limit for that plane.
I'm getting a Buddy Holly vibe here, but go ahead.
Okay, so far so good.
Yeah.
They're not. It's not really a big deal.
Yeah.
Planes can be a little bit overweight all the time, but they have the rack of the moose,
The antlers.
the antlers.
Yeah, which have to weigh. I mean, those things are huge.
So
And
I
heavy.
don't know if you know this, and I didn't. So I had to look it up. I
Yeah.
always do my research. The one state in all of America allows you to do this. Alaska allows people to take moose antlers and attach them to the wings of a plane
Oh boy.
and fly. I want you to think about this. One state in all of America allows you, if you don't have room, to somehow tie up or attach moose antlers to your wing.
Yeah.
So that you can take your moose antlers home, and because they don't fit, because they're very big. They're very big.
So instead of taking it in, they couldn't obviously fit inside.
Could not fit
Yeah.
inside the plane.
So they just wanted it as a souvenir,
Right.
To show, look how cool we are. We killed this helpless moose. So you know what it sounds like? It sounds like Darwin won.
yes.
That's what it sounds like.
So they attach the moose wings. Now, here's the funniest part. In order to do this, you actually have to call some place in Alaska and ask permission to tie the moose wings, the moose antlers, to the wing.
To just one wing, or they cut the antlers in half and make it
It's a small plane.
equidistant.
I
Okay.
think it's like kind of like a plane with the wing goes all the way across.
Oh yeah, I
saw
know
a
what you mean,
picture
like
of
a
it,
Cessna or something. Yeah.
Now they didn't do this, but I mean it's legal. It's legal in one state.
Yeah.
So they're flying home. The moose wing comes off, and the plane crashes.
So the moose wing didn't impale the plane; it just detached from the plane.
So it came off and messed up the plane.
yeah, so it must have maybe just wrapped around, got in the engine or
Don't
something.
know.
Yes, whatever,
Don't know.
whatever. But obviously the plane crashed because of that moose, because of the moose antlers.
And the plane crashes.
Yeah,
And
with 6 of them on board.
6 of them on board.
Yeah.
6 of them on board.
Yeah.
And the weird thing is, only the pilot died.
Really?
Yeah, everybody else lived because they had to go through and ask these questions. And one of the guys said, "This is so unbelievable to me that yes, we tied moose antlers to our wing
Yeah.
because we wanted to bring them home." In the one state in the entire country that allows you, they actually have it in there that allows you to tie moose wings to a plane.
Well, I was actually more bummed out thinking that
antlers.
I was actually more bummed out hearing that the pilot died. The only one who didn't shoot the moose, I'm assuming, right? He's the
He did
pilot.
not shoot the moose.
But the 6 idiots on board obviously went out of their way to kill this innocent animal because so they can feel good about
It's a
themselves.
moose. Come on, don't.
Yeah, I know,
Don't. I'm
but-
murdering squirrels on a. In fact, I need to go to the store and buy a new BB gun to murder squirrels.
Okay.
I'm not. Yeah, there's plenty of moose. They're not endangered species.
Understood.
Yeah, but yeah, I
Yeah.
couldn't. I'm sorry. I know we're running long, but I couldn't let the concept go that there's one state
Yeah.
in America
Mm-hmm.
that actually allows you to tie moose antlers to your wing
Yeah.
so that you can fly with them on there.
Ironic.
Ted, I honestly believe there's something wrong with people.
It's
in
like
Alaska.
I'm getting a Final Destination vibe on that one, right?
It's almost seemed like that. It almost seemed like that. Okay, last thought before we get out of here.
Don't do Google searches for poisons.
No, on your own phone.
Yeah, exactly.
On your own phone. And absolutely, whatever you do, don't ask a family member, like a child, to help cover up the murder of their parent.
Yeah.
That seems like a no-win situation.
Well, I guess if you've gone that far, you might as well just go all the way, right? I mean, he's already dug us off a hole. I know the first rule of digging a hole is stop digging. He just dug it deeper. As deep as, like China deep, like into China.
Ted, that's the...
Yeah.
Listen, out of all the stories we've ever heard,
Yeah.
like the woman who wrote the book...
Oh yeah. It's the same thing. I guess he had tried to poison her before that. That's another part of the story. But the Corey Richins, who's still in jail for that. Yeah, she's going to be tried for that.
I mean, that's a weird story, right? You're writing a book and you're trying to sell the concept, and you murdered the guy allegedly. Do I have to say allegedly still?
You have to say allegedly he hasn't been convicted. So
Okay, that bitch did it.
But there's some
whatever.
strong
But
circumstantial evidence.
when you add
yeah,
your kid to it, and you think, okay, sure, Dad. I mean, if you think that's going to be the response to, I just murdered your mom, and I need you to help me cover it up, that just doesn't seem like a good deal.
yeah. Well, like I say, he's like the poster child for doing everything wrong, right?
In fact, that's my last thought.
Okay.
If you kill a family member, don't ask another family member to help you cover it up.
Yeah.
And
Makes sense.
Yeah, and that was this week's Real Three Idiots podcast. You know what I never did? I never told everybody that this is actually the Real Three Idiots podcast, and today was actually National Chili Dog Day.
That sounds good.
Yeah, and we should have, hopefully, a chance to eat some chili dogs because if everything goes right, we will be in Indianapolis in October with Mark competing at the World Chili Cook-Offs.
I'm looking forward
It looks
to
like
that.
it's all set up
Yeah.
and done, and if everything goes right, I talked to the guy a couple days ago, we'll be doing a show from there.
Looking forward to it.
Live from there. So, I mean, it's not going to be live, but it's going to be recorded, and we'll kick it out as soon as possible. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Cool.
It's going to be really, really cool. All right. Wow. Dr. Cromer was awesome. Let's see. Today's Thursday. On Tuesday, short turnaround, we are going to be talking pizza with John Porter, who does pizza tours in Chicago for all different kinds of pizza. I'm not going to ask you, Ted, but I want you to think about it for next week. Your favorite pizza. I don't want to hear about it. Everybody keep listening. Keep enjoying. Hit us up on your favorite podcast platform. Leave a 5-star review. Go to voteforted.com. Do all those crazy things, and we will see everybody next week.